Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. I'm Paige, this is Seeking Alexandria, and guys, today it is time for a product update video. It has been, I think, about 3-ish weeks since I did my last one, and as you guys know, I love to test out products for you day in and day out, 5 days a week, but we have to go back through and tell you some finalized thoughts on these products that I wasn't sure on or I needed to play around with a little bit more, and this video is just dedicated to those products, dedicated to giving you guys the final piece of the puzzle, if you will. So, I try to pull like anywhere from probably 10 to 15 items depending on how much I have to say about each one. So there's definitely a lot to go through, and I'm just going to dive right in with something that I have actually had a lot of questions about. This is the Tarte Foundcealer. I have the shade 13N. I will link my original video, of course, up here. I only have 5 links up here, so they will all be linked down in the description box with the corresponding product if there's a video to go with them, which I believe all of them do have. So those will all be linked down below. But guys, let's talk about this Foundcealer. This looked so beautiful on my skin, like honest to God, I was convinced. I'm like, this is gonna be great. Coverage isn't super buildable if you do have like more redness, hyperpigmentation, that kind of thing. It does take a little bit of work, and I didn't really love that. But for how it looked on the skin, I was obsessed. Then it got about 4 hours into the day and I was a creasy, cakey, line-driven mess. So I was like, okay, now we have something else to consider. I took it off that day, put it on the next day, tried mixing it in with several foundations, and then 3 days later I started completely breaking out in acne all over my face. And the only different product I had been testing at that time was this. So for me, this is a pass. Not only does it not wear well on my skin, it mixed really nicely, and no matter what I did, it looked good, but I couldn't get it to last throughout the day, and it caused me to break out. So for me, this isn't a hit. Now, another product that I wanted to love so bad, because when it first went on, it was beautiful, it was dewy, it was just Stunsville, USA. This is the Buildable Blurr CC Cream from Thrive Causemetics. If you have skin that is on the drier side of life, this is so incredibly dewy. It looks so glowy and moisturized. Like your skin, like there's no way to describe that glowiness that comes from it. It's like a healthy glow, but also kind of like sweaty glow, but in like the best possible way. I know that sounds weird, but I promise it's true. But because I am on the more oily side of things, this just didn't work for me. No matter what I did, what I mixed it with, I found that when I went on the more matte side and I mixed it with my matter foundations, it kind of got clumpy, or not clumpy, clumpy's not the right word. It seemed to just separate. Like it was kind of an oil water situation where this one was so hydrating and the other foundation was so matte that it just didn't jive. So then I tried like a medium line foundation, and again, still didn't work. So for me, I couldn't make it work, but I do recommend it. It is beautiful. The coverage is actually very buildable and really good right off the bat as a CC cream. So if you're like wanting the lightness of a CC cream, good and glowy kind of situation, and you want to see how this looks in action, you can go ahead and check out that video up there, because I did a full face of Thrive Causemetics. But for me, this just didn't work. I couldn't make it happen on my skin, which was a bummer. Is there already lipstick in my Invisalign? Because I feel like there is. Oh, Invisaligns are so much fun. I am just like a powerhouse today. Look at me go. I'm just like, yes, yes, product. So next up, guys, it is Palette City, sweetheart, because I have got so many palettes I want to run through, talk about, and let me tell you, overall, the palettes are beautiful. I don't have anything that's really negative to say about any of these palettes. I feel like they were all beautiful, and I just wanted to throw that out there. If you're like, wow, Paige, like 8 palettes in a row, they're all great. Guys, I feel like everything from drugstore to high-end has just upped the game so much lately. Like everything I've been testing, the formulas have been nice, they've been true, consistent. I haven't had too much patchy issue going on. Like I'm so impressed that brands, I feel like, are finally realizing with the saturation of the market of makeup, you can't put out bad products and get people to purchase them, and I love that, because it's like, hello, who wins in the end? The consumer. So the products that I have in this video are the one from Colored Raine. This is their Safari Raine palette. I did do a full review of this collection, which of course I will link up there for you guys. I love this palette so much. I don't get a ton of use out of it just because I don't gravitate on a daily basis toward that green section right there, but these shades are so stunning on the lid. This one right here is the one that I wish, oh my god, I wish I could make this work for my skin tone, but it always makes me look a little bit bloodshot. But guys, the pigmentation, the consistency, everything about it. And then the shade down here, Lioness, this one is a really chunky, like foiled, kind of almost gummy shadow if you're feeling it in the pan, but the reflect is insane. Again, I wish it's something that I could get a little bit more use out of, but just on my day-to-day aesthetic, not so much. But I still really like the quality. I have nothing against it. Another one, actually, you know what? The next couple are super colorful, so let me just get prepared here. I'm gonna remove those swatches because it's about to get crazy. So the next two here are from BH Cosmetics. I believe this one was in a full face, I want to say, of first impressions. I will link up here. This guy had its own video with the palette as well as the brushes, testing them out, showing them to you, which I will link up here. So I'm going to go ahead and start here in the Color Festival palette. I love this. Like I said in that video, the shades are beautiful. They're bright. They're bold. My only qualm with this palette is that I felt like it could have been a little bit brighter. The pigmentation could have been a little bit bolder. Not that the pigmentation is bad, but I mean like the actual vibrancy of the shade, having it be a little bit more of a pop of purple, a little bit hotter of a pink, if you will. Like really go for it if you're gonna have super neon, super intense packaging, to really go for it in the palette, especially when this palette is so well curated that you can do daytime with it as well as more pops of color. I wish that the vibrancy would have been a little bit more poppy, but other than that, the quality and the consistency is definitely there. And honestly, guys, the same with this one, which I know the Daisy palette here was a collab, and it is so beautiful. I really love the aesthetic of this. My favorite shade is by far the shade Karma right here. Me trying to read it going in a circle. Guys, this shade is so freaking stunning. The way that it sits, it's a matte shade. It's like a beautiful coral color, but the vibrancy. This is what I was wishing for in the Color Festival palette. Look at how intense that is. It is so stunning, so perfect. Overall, I love this palette so much. I did feel like just when I was going through swatching playing, this one had a little bit more of like a kick up feel. I don't want to say chalk because I feel like that gives a negative connotation, but it did have a little bit of a different consistency to it. But overall, everything still blended out great. Again, the tones were so beautiful and so different. This one, when I look at it, I'm like, ooh, Easter, like a bright poppy Easter, like a slight pastel moment, but still fun. You can build it up, you can work it out, especially when it comes down to these three shimmer shades. I am diehard obsessed with these. Are those not like a shimmery, glimmery Easter egg moment that we're just having on my hand right now? I can't get over how beautiful this palette is and the way that it's curated. Again, I think Easter, I think fun, I think bright and poppy, but not overdone. I think, yes, slight Easter egg vibes, like, oh, I'm coloring them. I want something light, but I don't want it to be too intense. Whereas in this palette, I wanted something bright and vibrant. In this palette, I love that it's more of a vibrant, but with pastels. So from there, I'm going to bust into this ABH highlight. This is in Snowflake, and this is actually a highlight that I am wearing on my skin right here. You can see the overall white casted highlight you're seeing. That is this. And I don't have anything against this highlight per se. My biggest issue with it is that I always have to mix it because A, it's very icy, which I don't mind an icy highlight, but this one, when you apply it with a brush, like right here, I kind of worked it out so it looks smooth. But when I apply this to my face, I get more of like the texture of it, like almost like when you're using something with micro beads in it and you have to massage them into your skin. That's kind of how this is on my face. Whenever I apply it as a highlight, I have to go in and really either work it in with my finger or really be sure that I'm taking the brush and I'm like really rubbing it into the high points of my cheek. Otherwise, I do end up with the little granules kind of sticking to my texture, and that could just be that I have texture there, so maybe they cling to it a little different. I'm not sure. So is it something that I use? Yes, but I don't get a lot of use out of it. If it's me and I'm looking for this same type of style, the same style of vibe, I'm gonna go over Glazed Donut all day, every day, the collab that they did with Nikki Tutorials. This is my favorite white ice highlight of all time. Not only do I feel like it's a lot smoother, there she is right there, the opacity is beautiful, and with this one, when you apply it, it is so smooth and thorough and just like, it's everything. I can't do that thing that everybody else can do, but if I could, girl, I would do it right here because this is the things my dreams are made out of. And it isn't even just about the opacity or the way that it applies, it's the undertone of this one. This highlight is curated so perfectly that it melds in with my skin tone, and it will actually work. Instead of looking so icy that it almost turns blue, which is what this one does, this one has more of like that skin undertone vibe that I can just really get behind. So for me, if I was going to recommend one, it would be this guy all day long. As you can tell, I'm obsessed. Like, I've used this so many times in my world. It's one of the most beautiful highlights if you are on the fair side of things. And again, I think this one is a beautiful highlight as well if you're on the fair side. I just want to point out that you are going to get something that is more on the blue reflect, the cooler side of things, versus something that will really meld in with your skin tone as a highlight kind of vibe. So something to point out. It's not that I don't like it, it's not that I love it, it's just a very in-between product for me that I like at very different times, if that makes sense. So next up here we have the Milk Hydro Grip Primer. Now this is something I was really shocked by because a lot of you were like, hey girl, just be careful. I know a lot of people, or I started breaking out, or so-and-so started breaking out after using it. Be mindful because, of course, as you guys know, I do struggle with acne, cystic acne, hormonal acne, the acne of life, and it can just be a real pain whenever you try a product that causes more. So you guys were warning me, and I had already used it at this point for 3 days, and I was like, oh my god, the acne is gonna start coming. And guys, I never broke out from this, which I'm very excited about. Like right from the gate, I'm beyond ecstatic. But if there's a product that will do those things, it will typically do them to me. So I was very, very excited that I didn't have that reaction with this. Now that out of the way, I really like the consistency of this. I like that it's more of a gel primer. I like that it does have a nice gripping effect to it. I was really shocked when I first tested this out that the way that it applies to the skin, I was really expecting this primer to go one way or the other. I was expecting it to go either very, very grippy or very hydrating, and I didn't expect to find this beautiful balance between the two, and I really feel like this has that balance. And when we're thinking consistency of primer, think less grippy than the Cover FX gripping primer. That one I actually had a hard time. If I didn't fill my pores in with the Tatcha Silk Canvas first and then go over top of it, it would actually skip over my pores and make them look more noticeable. And this one doesn't do that. It has a really nice settling but still grippy kind of feel to it, and I really do like it. And it's almost like that gripping layer kind of keeps the hydration into your skin like a barrier, and it's just really nice overall. Like the product itself, I have no issues with. And again, Milk Makeup, you guys keep telling me, you're like, girl, you need to do a full face of Milk Makeup, and I really think I do, because I don't know that there's a couple of their products that I'm kind of like on, but for the most part, Milk Makeup to me is just such a solid brand. So next up, we're going to talk about one that I don't love so much. Don't come for me. I know it seems like I hate them, but guys, this Wet n Wild highlight, I do not like this thing. Why is there a fake lash stuck to the front of it? I can't answer that, because I never wear fake lashes. So where that came from, only God knows. But this was $14.99, as you can see by this sticker. I don't know if it was Walgreens, Wet n Wild, Walmart. I'm not sure, but I do not like this. I did already go ahead and swatch them on the back of my hand. And let me just tell you, first of all, the only 2 shades of this that would work for me are these top 2 shades right here. And purple, great, every day, love it, not. And then this pinky sheen right here, no thank you. I want like a nice bright highlight. I don't understand why I couldn't have just had like a nice neutral tone like these. How come the only 2 that work for me are pink and purple, and then the other 2 are a nice normal bronzy highlight? I don't know. But then these other 2 shades even, like look at how lackluster this 3rd shade is right here. I don't know. Overall for me, this palette was just very disappointing. It's not like I hate it. It doesn't have like a bad sheen, but it does have a really chalky consistency to it. And for me, I just could not get any use out of this. Even when I tried applying it to my lids, I didn't like it, because that chalky consistency was so noticeable. It's one thing to have a highlight that it looks a little chalky, but you can work with it. You can make it happen for your skin. This just wasn't that for me. This was a highlight that no matter how much I blended and buffed and melded and tried my Catrice Dewy Glow Setting Spray or tried the Farsali, tried anything to meld it into the skin, it just looks so chalky and sits on my skin as opposed to settling into the skin, and I don't like that. I like my highlights to look like they're actually a part of my face. I want it to look like I am naturally this glowy hoe right here. That's what I want, and for me, these just don't do it. So this is definitely a pass, and it bums me out because I was really pulling for it, but no thank you. So next up, we're going to visit the other end of expensive. This is the Natasha Denona Biba Palette. Now, first things first, for those of you asking me if I thought this looked like barbecue, yes I did. When I first saw this online, I was like, they came out with a barbecue palette. Literally thought the exact same thing, so no, you're not alone. However, this palette has proven to be some of my favorite shades in the entire world, but I can't exactly tip it all the way forward for you because 2 of my shades completely fall out of the pan. Not the pan falling out, no, the actual shadow itself falling out of the pan. This shade right here and then this guy over here, they are both rejected by the palette on a daily moment by moment basis, and they catapult out. So I will not be turning this because I've already picked them up twice just today, and for $129, I don't exactly love that fact, but the shades in here and the quality overall is very consistent and true to what we know and love about Natasha Denona. I just feel like when you look at this, it's very easy, please don't fall out, it's very easy to assume that you're like, oh, it's very boring, it's very blasé, but I feel like these shades specifically actually transform beautifully when you put them on the lids. They have this way about them to where they look really day to day and just like meh, whatever, but the way that they work onto the lid is beautiful. It's not like the shades themselves are unique, but the formula is so beautiful that they just look like clouds on your eyes. They're never harsh. They never have harsh like lines or any sort of texture to them. They're just beautiful and I love them, and I know that's a weird description and I'm not going to keep droning on, but it is a stunning palette. Again, nothing that I think you need to run out and purchase or like fit into your budget and like force to happen, but if you have it and you are into this kind of vibe, it's beautiful for an everyday glam, smoky, just like everything all in one kind of day. Gorgeous. Next up, we have the Physicians Formula and Casey Holmes collab. I did use this in a video, which of course will be linked down below. What I really like about this palette is the all-in-one nature of this. I like that you get an entire kit of things, and it isn't so much designated around one product. You can have an entire face with you in like one fell swoop, and I think that that's a truly beautiful marketing campaign, especially when it comes to a brand like Physicians Formula that's all about the glow, the beauty, the bronze, the summer. Like, they carry that aesthetic with them and they wear it well, and I really enjoy it. So for me personally, because I am on the fairer side, this is the deep tone bronzer. It doesn't work the best for me. I can use it. I did use it in that video and I had no issues with it. It's not patchy. It's their normal formula and it is a beautiful bronzer. Blush, same thing. I really like this blush. I think it is a beautiful texture and tone. It has a nice amount of radiance to it, but it's not too much. Because I'm on the fairer side, it can pull very drastic very quickly. So if you're fair like me, definitely be careful. The highlight is the part that I had the beauty love and also hate with. If you missed my lash liner video, that one I will make sure I link up here, because I recently reviewed the magnetic lashes and they're all the rage right now. Everybody's curious about them. And in that video, I had actually used some of that highlight on my lid, which you guys know I do that all the time. I always take my highlight, almost always. Today is like the one time I haven't, but I always take my highlight and I'll run it up into the inner corner just to brighten everything up and make my eye really pop. And I did that with this. Girl, absolutely not. The texture of this highlight does not work on my lids, does not work on my inner eye. I can't run it under my eye. I can't run it in the brow bone or on my nose. The only place I can put this highlight is right here. For those of you that have tried the Super Shock highlights from ColourPop, this one is way more like silky and oily feeling than those. Those I don't have any issue with. If they go on the lid, the inner eye, wherever, I can put those all over the face and have no problems. This one appears to have much more of an oily base to it, or something about it that just feels greasier, and it causes separation on my face, my eyes, all of that. So for me, this part was definitely the biggest upset, because that's my favorite thing to do with the highlight, and not being able to do it with this one kind of bums me out. But if you are in like that tan spectrum where you're deeper than me and you're lighter than a deeper skin complexion, right in there, I feel like you would really enjoy this, because it's basically like a glowy summer look in a box, and it's beautiful. So I have nothing against it. It's just, again, for my skin tone, it's not the most reachable, and I wish it was, because I really love the concept. But overall, it's really nice. Something else I wanted to touch on that you guys asked me about a lot, the ABH Riviera palette. Now, this palette I didn't play with a ton on camera. I used it a little bit, and I will link that video down below. I don't hate this at all, actually. I had a lot of people that were kind of like, oh, Paige didn't like it, that's why she didn't talk about it a lot. No, Paige just had a lot of other stuff to get through, but this palette is really beautiful. The texture, the consistency is there. I do feel like some of the shades are a little bit more kick-uppy than others, but for the most part, I'm like, okay, it's very consistent to ABH formula. I have no issues. I wanted to point out Mediterranean down here has a lot more of a chunk factor to it. It's still beautiful, obviously, but it's more of a, it's like right over there, again, most awkward swatch ever, but it does have more of a chunky feel to it, and when you apply it to the lid, if you build it up with like a glitter glue or something, you don't have any issues there, because you can really build the opacity. But that's the kind of shade that I think you could also duo if you wanted it to be more of a topper. You could kind of go in with your brush, tap your brush off, and just lightly veil another color, and I think you'd have beautiful dimension and a nice amount of reflect without having full opacity. So that shade you can kind of double duty, but overall I really like the palette. I don't have anything against it. As you can tell, there are several shades that I just love out of this guy, and I find that the consistency is beautiful, and so is the palette. So I have no qualms with this. Okay guys, so here's one that I wanted to touch on. I've used it quite a bit in the last probably 3-ish weeks or so, and this is the Farsali Rose Gold Skin Mist, and here's what I'm going to say about it. I really like it. I think that it is a beautiful setter for the skin if you like having that overall dewy glow to just like seal everything in. The same way that I use my Catrice Dewy Glow Setting Spray, that's how I use this one. I go in, I get all my makeup done completely, and then at the very end I go in with just a couple sprays of this, and like it presses everything in beautifully. Now, if you are on the normal to dry spectrum and you love like a good dewy, you want some of that oil, you want some of that good greasy spray going on, this is your jam. This is much more dewy for me on my skin than the Catrice by far. I really love the Catrice because I feel like it gives me a nice glowy that I can build. This one you don't have to build. You're just gonna go in and it's like woof, a lot of glowy all at once. Someone like me, normal to oily, I have to be very careful with how much of this I use, because I will make myself way too glowy way too quickly, and too much of this will actually break up my foundation very fast. So I really enjoy it. I have gotten a ton of use out of it. I love the way it looks, but definitely something I have to be careful with and just be mindful of how much I use and just things of that nature. But overall, I really do like this, so I wanted to throw it in here because I've had a lot of you asking, and it's beautiful, so I'm not even gonna say anything. And it's also really pretty to look at. I mean, hello, little chunks of gold, yes please. Okay, you guys, that is it. I'm not gonna keep droning on because this video is long enough. Let me know your thoughts down below. Are there any of these products you were curious about, happy that I added in this video, or overall, what are some products that you're loving right now that maybe I haven't tried, because I need to know those as well. And also, I say this in every video, but if you haven't yet checked me out on Instagram and on Twitter, they're both linked down below. You will want to do that if you love skincare, because I do skincare Saturday/Sunday, and I freaking love it. It is so much fun. We talk about skincare. It's going to be on IGTV. Last weekend we had a little bit of a hiccup with life, but we're going to get that all resolved, and this weekend we are going to be back and popping. So stay tuned, follow me. The links are down below. And also, if you have not done so yet, you can subscribe to this wonderful YouTube channel, because hello, hi, I upload 5 days a week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. They go up bright and early between 6 and 7 a.m. my time here in Northern Michigan. And y'all, it is so much fun. Again, uploading 5 days a week is a lot, but I seriously have found so much love and enjoyment with it through you guys. We hang out every day in the comments now, and it's just, I don't know, it's so much fun, and I get so much fulfillment out of it. And I love that you guys are here and that you continue to come back every day, and that you guys love my upload schedule. And I know that it's different. Most YouTubers upload like in the middle of the day or at the end of the day, and I love waking up with you guys and knowing that we kind of get our day started together, and it's just fun. So subscribe if you haven't, is the moral of my story. And again, check me out on Instagram if you want that 6th video every week over on my IGTV. And you guys, that is it. Thank you all so much for watching. Please do not forget to have a great day, night, weekend, whatever it is when you're watching this, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye. Oh man, my necklace got all tangled. You know what? Okay, hashtag fat girl neck. What is, like, does this happen to anybody else? Also, my hair completely fell out, so that's fun. Guys, there's a tractor outside my window, and I'm trying not to get mad about it, but this is what I hate about living in the middle of a cornfield. Northern Michigan. So fun. Eyes leaking. Oh my god, stop leaking eyes. This is not nice. I was expecting it to really go. Now, another product along those same lines that I wanted to work so badly was the Buildable Blurr. Okay. Oh my god, Lord, sir, I wish you nothing but the best cornfields of your life. Go find them, go harvest them, go do your thing. Even though there's nothing to harvest right now, go do it.